But hold on one more time. Remember, never mind. Go.
Yep. Hey, folks, it's me, Christopher Price with Keller Williams Central 75 and Getting It Right with Christopher Price. Today's topic is going to be using money as a tool, and we're going to get it right into that right after this. All right, so folks, one of the things I often get asked is about, how do I get money? How do I get more money? How do I get more money? And what a lot of people don't really take into consideration is that money is actually a tool. The Bible says the love of money is the root of all evil, not money is the root of all evil. So there's a big difference there. The reason why we get in trouble is because we're treating it incorrectly. I mean, if you were to run around with a chainsaw and you don't know what you're doing with it, you're going to do some damage. I mean, I know everybody's picked up a hammer at some point in time in their life and been hammered away, and they've been doing a good job, and then whack, you get your thumb. That's what happens when you treat money as anything other than a tool. You can get hurt by not doing what you're supposed to with it, not treating it, in a nice manner. I got to tell you, Christopher, I think I'm going to go a little too fast if I don't get slowed down a little bit here. Because that injury, as you would with your hammer, you can do it financially as well. You go, you know what? I've got enough money in the bank. I can afford to buy this new neat stereo system. So I go buy the new stereo system, and then something comes along, and it's like, oh wait, I need to go buy diapers for the kid or something. It's like, okay, well now I've got to go get I've got to go buy more diapers, and diapers get expensive, and the stereo is expensive. So now I'm going, okay, what am I going to do? I'm going to pull out a credit card. I'm going to start using that credit card. Well, that credit card is great because it helps me out of the temporary situation. But if I don't have a game plan with it, that's going to hurt me some more. So now I've got another credit card. So I've got multiple credit cards, and next thing I know, I'm in financial straits because I've got too much credit and I can't actually afford to live anymore. And that's really not what you want to do with money. And that's really an easy way for you to say, hey, here's how I got into this situation. But I mean, do we really want to take the time and do our self-reflection and go, okay, here's my fault in how I got to the money? That's not what we're here to talk about today. We're talking about how we can go ahead and take money as a tool and use it to actually help you in that same manner that we went so quickly in a downward spiral. We can also use money in an upward spiral. And a lot of it has to do with not just saving, but how we save correctly. Hey, that's me. But it's how we save correctly. And the way we save correctly is by doing it in certain steps, in certain orders. And that way we're able to go ahead and build our wealth from a point where, we're putting aside $100 a month and it's going in a savings account, to where we're putting aside $100 a month and it's going into an account that we can buy stocks in, to where we're putting aside an extra $100 a month as a backup for when, like say, somebody who's a tenant isn't there anymore. And there's a point where it's like, you know what, I can afford this house as a rental income. And just even if it costs me $100 a month, it's still going to be profitable to be in the future. So there's a lot of different ways that we can go, okay, look, how is my coffee money going to make me money? And this is what we like to call the latte principle. So most people, enjoy coffee now and again. And for some people, it's not coffee. I had an employer at one point in time, my boss said, it doesn't matter if you're spending $200 a month on coffee at Starbucks or you're spending $400 a month on PBR. What it is, it doesn't matter to me. I don't care. That's not my position. What I want to know is there a place that you're spending money that we can go ahead and say, hey, let's just take a little bit of this, and instead of buying that, let's set it aside. So that's how we can take somebody who's even in a situation where they owe more than they're making and actually start to build themselves some money on over here while we're paying down the debt over here. And this is some of the stuff that I can actually help you with when we're together one-on-one. But a lot of times, it's kind of like if you look at, I love these DIY shows, where you're watching Chuck and Joanna and they're building a house for somebody and it just turns out amazing. And one of the things you go is, you know what, I can do that. I can do that. I can do that. So you go to Home Depot and you buy the stuff and you're out there in your backyard and you do your project and, it looks okay. It looks nothing like what it does with Chip and Joanna, but it does look pretty good for you and whoever you're getting to help you out with it. And the reason for that is Chip and Joanna aren't doing most of it. They're on screen. They're doing the here and there. But they got a team of people that are doing all the work of getting that house beautiful for you. And that's true. Yeah. I mean, it's like, so you look at a DIY house and it's like, some people have the knack. Some people like me don't. It's like, it looks like a 12-year-old and his buddies got together and made a tree house whenever I try to build something. I mean, it's not finished around the edges. It's not as pretty as it could be. But I mean, that's just the way it is. And I couldn't tell you how many times I walk into a house where somebody has decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to save some money and I'm going to paint the house myself, or I'm going to, refinish the fireplace, or, I'm going to build my own deck. And I walk out there and I'm like, okay, it looks like this deck, I know it was built recently because the nails are new and shiny and the wood is new, but it looks like it's been out here and dilapidated for a long time. And that's not really what we want to do when we're trying to make money. We want to make sure we build it good and get some people to help us with it that actually know what they're doing, so that when we do go to sell it, it doesn't look like a 12-year-old and his buddies got together to do it. And a lot of us, our financial plan really does look like we just got together with a couple of friends and we said, hey, I think we're going to try this, we're going to try that. And there comes a point in your life, I mean, that's great when you're young. You should do that as much as you can when you're young, but you should also have a solid game plan. And if you don't have a solid game plan, I invite you now, reach out to me either on my email, thepriceisright@kw.com. You can send me a text message at 469-626-8545. But reach out to me and go, hey, I need some help just getting started. I've already been going for a little while. I like the cut of your jib. Let's do some more together. Whatever it may be, there's always more to learn, and there's always a way to get better at it. And I know a lot of people are like, I can do it myself. I don't see why I should pay somebody else. And this is where I love to bring in the statistic from the National Association of Realtors, that because we've got a lot of people that like to sell their own house. Well, by using a realtor, you can get 10 to 15% more than you would if you were to do it yourself, which basically means if you were to do it yourself, you're only getting 90% of what you could get than if you'd used a realtor. And those are loose numbers. It's actually a little bit less than that, because a realtor is going to be able to get you so much more than you would be able to get by yourself. And you don't have to do the paperwork. You don't have to do the listing. You don't have to do open houses. You don't have to do a lot of the hard stuff. You just go, okay, you do it and I'm going to get more money. Yes, that's why you want a realtor, because the realtor does the work and you get more money, as opposed to you're going to save some money and you're going to do all the work and you're going to end up actually getting less money. So the question you've got to ask yourself sometimes is, can I do this? And can I do it at a level where I'm going to make more money? Or does it make sense to hire somebody that's going to make me more money? Because again, when I'm in my 20s, yeah, I could go out with my buddies and I could have a great time on a Friday night for $20. And I tell you now, at the age of where I'm at, if I tell a woman we're going to go out, we're only going to spend $20 and we're not out camping, she's not going to be happy with the fact that we're eating hot dogs in the back of my car. That's not a fun day. And I see Christopher laughing over there, so I know I hit home with that one.
Yeah, that was a good example, Christopher. That was good.
But and so I'm going to leave. I think we've got enough time for this. Yeah, we're just about. So it's a matter of doing the stuff you're good at and paying the people to do the things that they're good at. So there was a professor in college that told us a story, and it was one of these stories that I have to repeat fairly often because it makes so much sense on so many different levels. There was a bank vice president. He's out mowing his yard in the front yard. and the president's driving by, and he sees him out there mowing the yard, and he says, "That's interesting," because he sees the VP. He's an older gentleman like myself. He's been around a little bit, so he's got on his t-shirt. He's out there sweating, and he's mowing his yard. And the president gets up, goes to the bank, and he calls his VP's house. He's like, "Hey, Madeline, go ahead and get Fred on the phone. I need him up here in the office. We've got an emergency." And so she's like, "Well, he's outside." He's like, "Well, tell him he needs to get here in like the next 15 minutes. Well, the guy lives like 12 minutes from the office. So he knows 15 minutes is not going to be enough time for him to get in the shower and show up, in a suit, ready to work. So the wife runs outside and says, hey, you've got to, and he's like, "Hey, where's my, exactly." He's going, "Wait, where's my lemonade?" She's like, no, honey, you've got to get to the office. Boss Bob just called and he said, "You've got to get in there right now." And so he's like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know what to do." He shuts off his lawnmower. He runs in the house. He throws his suit on over his stinky lawn clothes, and he gets in his car and he runs up to the office. And so the boss says, "Hey, Fred, what's going on here? Are you okay?" And the VP's like, "What? Yeah, I'm fine." And he's like, "Well, I got to ask you, are there no kids in your neighborhood?" And he's like, "Well, this is a weird line of questioning. Really weird." "Yeah, there's kids all over my neighborhood." And he's like, "Well, are you hurting for money?" And he's like, No, I'm not hurting for money." He's like, "Well, do you need a raise? Have your credit cards gotten out of control? I want to make sure you're not in some kind of financial distress." And he's like, No, I'm not in financial distress. So the president turns to him and says, "Well, tell me, why are you out mowing your own yard?" And the VP says, "Well, I enjoy it. It's a healthy exercise. I get outside. Why shouldn't I mow my own yard?" And the president says, "Well, I drove past your house. It's a nice big house on a big main thoroughfare. And I see you out there sweating, and you're old and you're fat. And, it's not something anybody wants to see, and I don't want to come to work on Monday and go, 'Well, my VP's dead because he had a heart attack mowing his front yard.' And, besides, there are kids in your neighborhood that would love the opportunity to actually mow your yard for a little bit of cash. And if you need something a little bit better than what a teenager can give you, then hire a professional yard crew to go out there and mow your yard." But the point is, you're a VP. Your job is to manage the money here at the bank, not to go out and mow your own yard. I don't pay you to mow your own yard. I pay you to manage people's money. So when we're talking about a DIY project, there's a point where it's okay to mow your own yard. There's a point where you need to hire the teenage kid around the corner. And there's a point where you need to hire a professional. And sometimes what you need to do is make sure that you've got either some really good kids or some professionals in your pocket that can actually help you along with not just your financial needs, not just with mowing your yard, not just with, your spiritual situation or even lunch. I know I'm not the best cook. That's why I go out to eat on a fairly often. But that doesn't mean I don't cook at home. That also doesn't mean that I don't pay for a good meal every once in a while. That's right. I love how the Bible says the laborer is worthy of his wage. Sometimes we need to take that into consideration in a few more parts of our lives than just, I need to save some money because I need to save some money. Sometimes it's a good thing to help people out by letting them work. And especially if you're worried about the inflation and the way everything's going right now, oh no, then yeah, instead of maybe tightening your belt a little, loosen it and hire the neighborhood kid to mow your yard. And with that, Chris, I think we're pretty close to 15 minutes. If you want to go ahead and send me out, I forget what I'm supposed to say at the end of these. So roll that beautiful not being footage.
Just tell everybody have a great day, and then we'll see you next week.
Sounds great. Hey, folks, y'all have a wonderful afternoon. Great rest of the weekend, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.